I'm Josh Tulkin. I'm the director of the Maryland chapter of the Sierra.
And we were at a rally in front of the appeals court, the Murphy Appeals Court today in Annapolis, Maryland. Can you tell us why we were there?
Yeah, so this was the first hearing of oral arguments in the appealed version of our case. Sierra Club Maryland chapter has a settlement with Dominion. It's over 35 years old. It originally started with Columbia Gas back in the late 70s. The Sierra Club was helping to establish a state park in what is now Cove Point. About at the time, the state of Maryland was going through some financial challenges, and instead of creating a state park, they sold the land to Columbia Gas, and Sierra Club intervened and said this is not acceptable. This was a really important, protected natural resource that should be put in the public trust. We ended up settling with the company, setting up the Cove Point Natural Heritage Trust, and entering into an agreement over proper environmental uses for the facility. And this settlement has been updated 3 different times. Every time that there's any change to the facility, it requires approval from the Sierra Club. For instance, when they wanted to build a new pier, we worked with them to create the least environmentally harmful pier that they could and actually push most of the operations off, I think, almost a mile offshore. So we've really been working to try to mitigate the impacts of the existing facility. Our contract with them, our settlement, specifically lays out the acceptable uses for the facility.
When was the contract last updated?
It was last updated in 2005, and the 2005 settlement involved the creation of a couple new...
and this was with the new owners?
This was... I actually would have to check. I believe that the contract was updated with Dominion, with the current owners. And the facility at that point was adding in some new capacity for a power plant and several new storage units. And in the process of the settlement and updating it, we also added significantly more detail into what was an acceptable use for the power plant, for the storage facilities, for transmission, and specifically for the importing of natural gas. And this contract says that the usage should be limited to receipt by tanker of natural gas. Now, when I hear the word receipt by tanker, I assume that it means the facility is meant to receive gas from a tanker.
Import, rather.
Correct. Dominion is trying to argue that it means that the offshore pier can receive by tanker natural gas from Maryland and then ship it to China. It clearly was not the original intent of the settlement. If you read it, you can see that language does not make any sense. We were very disappointed that the initial decision in the Calvert County courts did not really even address some of our core arguments, but it gives us the opportunity.
You filed a motion last spring, is that right?
We filed a motion more than a year ago, actually.
Spring 2012.
Spring 2012. And Dominion filed it concurrently. We both essentially filed for resolution on a contract dispute. What this comes down to at the end of the day is something really simple. Does this settlement give us the right to veto this project? Does this project sit outside the realm of our settlement with the company? And if so, do we give our approval? We do not give our approval. Dominion argued that they do not require our approval, and essentially now the court has to determine whether or not they believe this contract requires Dominion to seek our approval to construct this facility.
Today it's in the appeals court, so a court has already ruled against you, is that right?
The first court has already ruled against us. The Calvert County Court ruled against us. That's correct. So this is the first appeal.